Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday morning trading room. Hump day, whoo, halfway through the week. All right, bear with me here while I get the screen share going on. The market's opening just about a minute or so ago. And it appears as though we've got a little bit of an opening gap above us this morning. This is the first morning, probably at least a week or so, that the market has opened lower. And now we're leaving gaps to the upside. So a very, very peculiar trading right now. I'm also watching the euro dollar as well as crude oil. So if there's any other market you'd like me to take a look at, please don't hesitate to ask. Here, what have we got going on? We just got our first in-sync signal here on the Eagle, and rather than miss the Falcon signal, we're getting that trend change signal here in the Falcon. So I'll set up for that. And it looks like if this fills, it's going to try to retest the overnight lows from yesterday. Actually, it's pretty close to yesterday's lows too, if I remember right. Okay, so they're backing off that one a little bit. I wanted to show you the Eagle signal, the green bar sell. That's our first signal of the morning, I think. Yes, it is. Right on the open, right out of the opening bell. So the Eagle looking a little bit bearish today as well. For you Raptor traders, we've got a kind of a messy cloud crossover developing. The clouds have crossed. The market has retreated into the cloud. It's come out. It's not a pure cloud crossover, but it does resemble a cloud crossover if you wanted to set up for a short signal here as well. Or you can just wait for the correct signal. Looks like we are retreating a little bit from here. And if we get a green bar forming, that's going to spoil the signal. So I'll cancel here on the hawk. We're also producing a first micro macro cross lower. So a couple of signals here to the short side. I will try to run out the hawk signal. Providing it fills, of course. Thank you, Steve. Steve reminding us there's a manufacturing report due out at the top of the hour. All right, so we're short. Stop it. Okay. A little bit of support here near the lows. Oh, come on now. You can see the Raptor followed through now with the number one signal. So it did recognize it as a cloud crossover. Doggone it anyway. Look at that. We're right down here at the lows, at the support zone. I'm going to force this trade to break even. Likewise with the hawk. There we go. We need a little bit of luck just to see the sellers push past this support zone. Steve also thanks for reminding me of the crude oil inventory at 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern this morning. Crude oil dead quiet at the moment. Steve also asks, he says, I know a trader that gets out of bed, and I think he looks at the VIX, that would be the VIX. Yesterday, whatever he looked at determined that he would not trade. Do you know what he would be looking at? Well, the VIX, VIX is the ticker symbol for the Chicago Options Exchange. It's the volatility index. And it's an attempt to measure the volatility of the stock market, in particular the S&P. And because options, of course, are all about volatility. So that's why people follow the VIX. Generally speaking, when the VIX is below 20, that indicates low volatility, and if it's above 30, it implies high volatility, which means uncertainty is high and there's fear in the markets. Sometimes the VIX is referred to as a fear index. So when the VIX is high, you can expect the stock market to head lower, and when the VIX is low, you can probably expect the stock market to head higher. If the VIX is kind of dead neutral, he would probably not expect a lot of movement in the stock market. So maybe that's what he was looking at. If he's a stock trader and he's not interested in shorting, then he would probably only be interested in trading when the VIX is low. If the VIX is too high, he would probably not be too keen to trade because it would be more of a seller's market. That's kind of a sloppy explanation of the VIX. There's certainly a lot of information online about it. And I'll see here if I can even build you a VIX chart so you guys can see what it looks like. Nope, not getting the data. I used to get it through my other data feed, but not through this one. It's not something that I've watched a lot. But, as I always say, if it's stuff that's trading related, if it helps you make a decision, then by all means, go ahead, use it. If it doesn't, then put it on the shelf. You don't need it. Boy, Steve, you're full of questions this morning. Steve asks, question, I was using the charts that end when the trading day ended, but recently changed to 24/5 charts. But my indicator of the previous day's high-low close does not correspond to yesterday's market close, but the midnight date change. Do you know how to get the previous day's high-low close when the market ended during regular trading hours? Yeah, I know. You're Steve number two. I got it. Because we have several Steves in the room here, and I tend to refer to one as Steve 1 and Steve 2. All right. Good question. Good question. Let's take a look here at our, while we're waiting for our next signal, let's take a look here at our indicator assortment. And current day open. I have a feeling this will default to just default to whatever is the highest and lowest on your chart. That is a darn good question. You may end up having to go to Ben for that one. There's probably a workaround of sorts, but I can't think of it right now. A simple solution, I suppose, would be to run another chart. You know, even if it's a tiny little 5-minute chart or something you tuck up in the corner as a reference. Yeah, I know you're asking here, Steve, previous day's high-low close. That was the current high-low close. You could use, I know there's an indicator on here called constant lines. Oops, sorry. Let's try this tab. There's an indicator here called constant lines. And you would have to plot the value. So it wouldn't be automatic. It would require a little bit of work on your part. The initial balance lines allow you to plot the opening range. This is what I use on the Raptor. This is from Indicator Warehouse, the initial balance lines. Other than those three, I can't think of anything that actually plots. Oh, there you go. Sorry, just before I said it. Prior day open, high, low, close. There you go. And it looks like it's a standard indicator with NinjaTrader. Now, if it still plots the, all right, let's take a look. Let's see if it allows you to set the time. No, it doesn't. So it's going to try to plot, very likely, the high and low of the 24-hour session. But again, if you talk to Ben, he may be able to offer a solution or maybe even a little bit of a tweak that you can put a time component into the indicator. And if you've lost Ben's email, another useful place to go on occasion is the NinjaTrader website, the trading forum. You can get a whole slew of indicators and tweaks and stuff that people have done to their NinjaTrader. Sometimes you got to sift through a lot of it, but somebody may have done something like that. Okay, I think we're still. Good morning, Aspen. Aspen asks, did I miss any action this morning? Well, action is a strong word, but we did try the, pardon me, first micro macro cross lower. I tried to run it out, so I ended up with a break-even tap out there. And we also attempted the Falcon trend change signal, which coincided with the Raptor #1 cloud crossover signal. I also rolled my stops when it looked like the market was hesitating here on this little double bottom that we're seeing, so ended up with a break-even tap out here also. And I was a little bit late getting to the Eagle in sync signal, but that one looking like it had offered the greatest opportunity so far. So, no, you didn't really miss much. While we're waiting, take a look here at the NinjaTrader support forum. Crude oil still sideways, trying to rally ever so slightly. The euro dollar also pretty sideways. Gary, I will get to your Raptor question here in just a second. Okay, so you see there's always kind of lots of posts and everything going on, news about Ninja 8, Ninja 7. What you're probably interested in, though, is the indicators. So you can go here, you can search, and the Ninja script files is what you're going to be interested in, and just put in a keyword or set of keywords. Open high, low close. Let's try that again. And like any search, it will get you what it thinks is closest. So there's 75 matches that at least contain one of these words. And then I'll leave it to you to sift through them all. Because of the new Ninja 8, some of these will no longer work. You see there's some even here for Ninja 6.5, some old ones. But it's an interesting little website. Some people have done some very interesting things. Okay, Gary is asking, do you use the Raptor for the E-mini? And if so, what settings? Yes, I do. And bear with me here. and I will show you. I think I'm going to show it to you here on crude oil because that's what I have set up at the moment. Here, we'll do this correctly. So with the E-mini, I recommend that you go to our alternate settings, which is a 4-tick Hawk, 4-tick Falcon, 6-tick Eagle, 446. And the reason you want to do that is if you don't, your chart will start to look like this with the standard settings. These will be your daybreak lines. There's not going to be enough signals developing. You know, you're going to get some very limited trading. Now, that will work if you're prepared to do end of day trading, if you're prepared to hold overnight. But, you know, most times we are just looking to day trade, so we want to make sure we get some day trading signals. To that end, you would like to change your mean Renko brick size to 4 ticks. And then here on the Raptor itself, you're going to pull down here to the brick size. And you're going to change one of your clouds to a 6-tick cloud, the other one to a 4-tick. And then your Hawk brick size also to 4 ticks. This will help smooth everything out. While you are here, you might consider changing your soft edge signal parameter from the default 1.01 to 1.25. It's going to loosen up that number 2 signal a little bit so that you'll actually generate a couple more. And then when you're done, this is what it's going to look like. Okay, so we'll put that away. Crude oil's been so dead slow, I've moved it to the alternate settings as well, just so that we have some trading signals. All right, here on the Raptor now, we are getting a hard edge bounce with a second push opportunity. Ditto on the Falcon, we had a trendline touch signal, which has already triggered, and a macro pullback signal here on the Hawk that has also triggered. But we'll try this one from the Raptor. Actually, I was just about to tighten my stop. I don't need to have this much in play because the reversal above 56.22.23 is probably going to see the market continue to hold this bottom. And it looks like I got slipped a tick on the entry. a safer entry would be below this 56.16, maybe even below the primary support line. I think we'll be okay. Oh, I said I didn't need that big of a stop, so let me adjust this right now before I forget. All right, we'll just pull it in manually. Sure, Tony, hold on. Tony asking for my Raptor crude oil chart. Okay, come on, get down here. Once we're below 56.16, we should be getting a little bit of traction to the short side, I mean. I'm debating whether I should try to run this bad boy out. Come on. Get down there. Keeps kissing 56.16, but it is not wanting to get through there. Come on. There we go. All right, I'm going to try to run it out. The market almost looking a little bit more limber. it may be going somewhere today. Well, we'll see. We'll see here in a few minutes, but come on. Let's get below. There we go. Let's get below this primary support. That'll give us a little bit of breathing room. Okay, break-even stops were around 56.12, or my break-even trigger, I should say. Come on, give me this bar. Come on. All right, so at this point, I will take the break-even. And I'll leave the parabolics in play, and if things start to look a little bit too dicey, I'll go with a tighter stop, or just stop out. We have hit the profit target though, which is nice to see. Geiger counter going back and forth here. I think we're seeing a little bit of sensitivity to this secondary support zone in the 5609, 5610 area. But with a little bit of luck, the sellers will knock the buyers back down. It's almost like trading in slow motion. Oh, come on. Don't want to swing here. Getting ready to go with the ultra aggressive bar high low stop strategy. I should be able to ride out a swing. I think we're far enough away, and we do have the primary support now, which is going to act as resistance, but I'm really not interested in giving too much back if I can help it. All right, there we go. So I've gone to the bar high low strategy, and I'm trailing rather aggressively 2 bars back with only a 2 tick offset. So if we see a bounce here, I'll get a little bit of beer money out of the trade, but not much more. This support line still holding strong. If we get through there, next support 56.03, that would be a very nice little profit objective. In fact, I think I would even throw a profit-taking order in there right now. Oh, but it doesn't look like I'm going to get it. All right, so they tagged me on that little reverse. I would have done better staying with profit target, as tends to be the case more often than not. So a note for the journal, though, would have done better all in, all out. You have no idea how many times I've written that, and yet I still try to run the trade out. Oh well, I guess I'm a slow learner. Steve getting anxious about the crude oil market. Let's go take a look at what's going on in crude. Steve's looking to do a little OCO type action here this morning. Well, we do have something resembling a channel here. It's a rather big trading range. About 30 cents top to bottom, I guess. That's not too bad, I suppose. Still ugly. Well, usually when I set up an OCO bracket, I try to position it so that the current market is trading somewhere in the middle. It's a little bit broad, but I don't know, I'd almost be inclined to buy above the median line and sell below the primary support, or maybe better yet, the low of the day. We still have about 10 minutes. Let me think on this for a moment. Alternatively, of course, you could allow the market to break and then place your trade, And I would probably recommend a stop limit order and maybe limit your slippage to 2 or 3 ticks. I think I've shared with you my experience with another trader who was saying he was getting slipped 8 to 10 ticks on crude oil. And I said to him, you had better go talk to your broker, because that is outrageous slippage. Well, I hate to say it, Steve, but this is the safer trade scenario for the report. I would be keen to try to tighten this, but I don't know how much I want to press my luck. You could try to short below this little swing. It did get a kind of a double tap. Yeah, so Steve says I'm looking to short 47.80. I think that'll be all right. Crude not quite as violent out of the gate from those reports as it used to be. And you can see even today's range really, really subdued. Yesterday, the market put in a decent rally. Yeah, I suppose that wouldn't be a terrible setup the way it is. We'll stay with this. I don't think there's anything new on the NASDAQ just yet. No, doesn't look that way. We do have a macro pullback, of course. I think we're going to see one more push lower. So if you were inclined to get on board that macro pullback, if it actually prints, you will have to run a rather wide stop, however. Yeah, I'm a little hesitant myself here, Tony. Tony writes, I think it's a bad day for using the initial OCO breakout versus letting the report hit the floor and then bracketing the range. Oh, I need a stop strategy here. And we'll go with something a touch more aggressive, like the parabolics. So what do we think? Is crude going to break north or south? Is it going to rally or is it going to fall off? Let's do a little quick survey here. Oh, I might even be able to do a poll. Hold on a second. Okay, I think, I think I have to hit that button. All right, there we go. Let's do a quick little straw poll survey. Ooh, look at that. The majority of you thinking crude oil will fall. Oh, it's starting to flip over now. Only about a third of the people in the room had voted. So a 60-40 split, hey? It is pretty neutral, of course. I think some of you are probably sitting on the fence there waiting for the crude report to come out and then place your vote. All right, I better close this up so we can get back to the charts. Well, that was fun. I forgot I could do that. Okay, now I want to be careful that my entry order is not too close to the current market price. Oh, the bear is really starting to line up here. All right, if you wanted to play it really tight, you could do something like this. Give them a couple more ticks here on the short side, just to try to keep it balanced. Okay, a couple minutes. Let's see, make sure all is still good here in the NASDAQ market. It's looking that way. Looks like we may get a cloud crossover, pardon me, a trend line change, which will lead to a soft edge buy. All right. And we are going to be off to the races in a minute. Oh, don't bring me in just yet. Although it is always interesting to me how often the DTS tools will predict the market direction before the report is released. Some of you will be looking at this and saying, hey, isn't that a cloud crossover? Well, it's again, crossover, but it is a cloud crossover. Whoa. All right, well, for those of you who figured it would go short, good for you. Great call. I took the early tap out there with the parabolics, getting in a little bit cozy. But you know what? I'm okay with it. That is the most action we've seen out of a crude inventory in some time. Well, that was fun. Nicely done, Steve. Steve says, well, there was a quick $900. Well done, Steve. So I'm assuming you took a couple multiples, or did you just run a looser stop? Oh no. Daniel says I forgot to hit the submit button. Oh. Oh, I wish I could say I've never done that. Yeah. Yeah, Dan says that hurt. I know. We've all been there. I feel your pain. So the guy walking down the street with the big cheesy grin that you see, that'll be Steve. Nicely done. Oh, fantastic. Steve says, played 3 contracts, 8-tick profit, and a 16-tick runner. Well played. All right, well, back to the action here on the NASDAQ. We've got ourselves a little bit of a more bullish looking market. You can see we've come right back here to the middle of the morning trading range, right back to the median line, in fact. Have not seen a proper test of the extreme, so even though the market is looking more bullish to me, I'm not quite ready to buy just yet. We're probably going to see one more push lower. It looks like that macro pullback signal faded and turned into a yellow bar. And we are now into the hard edge here on the Eagle. So good news for those of you using that first in sync signal. That paid off for you this morning. Let's see, did that second signal hit the target as well? No, not quite. But certainly the first one did. So nice, nice follow through on the first signal out of the gate. And now we are definitely seeing some sort of reaction to the 56.21 median line and the resistance at that level. kind of in limbo here. I guess we do have a first micro macro cross. If you're really looking for something to do, you could buy in. You're going to have to cover it down there, I'm afraid. Probably get by covering it to the macro line, but I can't say for sure. A pullback is very, very likely. I'm not entirely sure the buyers are going to be able to rally the market back, but at the very least, it looks like they could turn this wannabe downtrend into a sideways trading range, in which case you would be buying at the top end of the range without any confirmation that, in fact, the buyers are in control. How do we get that confirmation, you ask? Well, quite simply, the test of the extreme. Once we got that test of the extreme and we see the buyers picking it up without breaching the low, then we have a pretty good idea that they're going to give it one more poke. And because of this pending test of the extreme, you may get a chance to buy in at a better price, maybe off of a macro pullback or 4-arrow consolidation, or perhaps even a red bar buy, depending how deep the market retraces, assuming, of course, it does retrace a little bit here. Yeah, let's hope so, Mark. Mark says, let's hope gas prices come down with the crudes move lower. Ours actually dipped 3 cents a liter here the other day, so we're still paying the same for gasoline as we did when it was trading over $100 a barrel. Now it's trading at $47.50, so go figure that. Mark says, I've got a 2.5-week vacation starting next week, and I'm driving from Wisconsin to Idaho. That's a nice drive, though, once you get through the Dakotas. It broke my heart when I hit Montana, and the one thing you guys do in the States very well are the mileage signs. So when you hit the state line, you know exactly how far it is to the other side. And I seem to remember hitting the Montana border on the east side, and it said something like 800 and change. I think, oh no, 800 miles to get through Montana. And I was on my way to Seattle. Took a shortcut. We were visiting family in Toronto, and rather than drive the Trans-Canada back, we decided to go through the U.S. and followed I-90 all the way home. It's actually a much nicer drive, I think. 4-lane highway, and lots of services, of course, but the big one for me was the mountain pass. If you ever drive through Canada, now the summertime it's great because you're going through the Rocky Mountains, you're going through Banff National Park, you're seeing the Rocky Mountains for all they're worth. But it's not an easy drive. Lots of little twists and turns. Following I-90, we only had the one mountain pass to go through in Washington, the Snoqualmie Pass, and which made it a little bit easier because we were driving in the fall and the weather was perhaps a little bit more questionable. Oh, way to go, Steve. Steve, don't knock it. Steve says, I'm reviewing the trade. I had a short in at 47.82, but I was filled at 47.98. Then out at 47.66 on all three. No idea what happened. That, my friend, is positive slippage, and you should take it anytime you can get it. So let's take a look here at the crude oil trade. So count your lucky stars, Steve. You were, oh, no, that is, oh yeah. Hey everybody, this was Steve way up here. The report came out and you got filled way up here. That doesn't happen very often. You must have been first in line. Normally we experience negative slippage. Well, actually, Steve, I don't know how that happened either because your order was down here somewhere, wasn't it? So your order didn't get tagged until here. And then you got filled up here. Well, you know, like I said, don't knock it when it happens, but not all trades are graphed. Hold on a second here. And I will try to build a dome for you. Okay, let's see if I can get this to work. Oops, sorry. Let's try that again. They give you the two domes here, and I can never remember which one to use. Crude, where are you? Okay. So you see all these numbers bouncing around back and forth here. What may have happened is Steve had his order to short, and somebody came in with 1,000 orders or 5,000 orders. They sucked up all the buy orders until the next order available was not until, or pardon me, they sucked up all the sell orders until the next order available was 47.98. But that is huge. Well, even Steve says I was short 47.82. Yeah, that was where your order was. Yeah, so you got a 10-tick positive slippage. That is very rare. You better go buy yourself a lotto ticket today. Ten-tick negative slippage, definitely a possibility. But a 10-tick positive slip, you are one lucky son of a gun. Yeah, like Tony says, you should call your broker and complain. Reminds me of a friend of mine who got his electric bill for a house that he was renting, and he thought, that's unusually low, my electric bill. This is, I mean, it's a place he was renting. So he phones the electric company and says, I don't think you guys are charging me enough. Yes, it's true. My stupid friend phoned the electric company and had them review his account because he didn't feel like he was paying enough. And of course, they charged him more. So I still like to tease him about that. There's honesty, and then there's honesty. And my friend Dave set a new watermark. All right, so we're watching the market test the extreme now. I don't know if they're going to come back here with the buy or whether, like I said, it's just going to throw everything into kind of a sideways drift. Yeah, we got some major selling going on here. And I was watching my crude oil chart actually, and I missed the hard edge sell here. But it's still debatable whether or not we are going to see a full-on trend resumption or if this is still building into a reversal. For those of you who like pattern trading, you could see this as a upside down head and shoulders. So of course, if we get the test of the extreme and the market goes higher, we will get the buy signal. If you're looking at this as a head and shoulders type pattern, there is your buy line. Looks like it's going to be around 56.20. Excuse me, everyone. I was wondering why I could hear a delivery truck outside. Well, it's the FedEx guy. Yep. My wife's been busy at Amazon. Okay, so if this is in fact a reversal and we are seeing a test of the extreme, we will see the market rally. For those of you, like I said, who like pattern trading, this is your buy line on your upside down head and shoulders type formation. But what tends to happen as well is once you get that breakout is you will see a retest and another buy opportunity. So what's happening here is you got a couple things going on. First, we're going to get our number 2 counter trend signal, our soft edge sell. And if in fact this pattern holds true, we will get our number 1 cloud crossover signal as well. So that's how those things tend to play out. And that's why the signals print the way they do sometimes. Too early to tell. It is a sell signal though. I would not go in heavy though. I would not go in, I don't think, for the full risk amount. Now watch the market fall through the floor. But that's your trade. Now that this bar has got a little bit of a tail to it, if you're a little bit anxious on the trade, it'll be a good bar to put your stop above, essentially a break-even type situation. You may have even hit the break-even trigger by now. Certainly by now, I think it would tap the break-even. Tony, also watching the mid cap, says the mid cap on the Hawk has had some really good opportunities. The mid cap, the EMD, for those of you unfamiliar with it, it does tend to be a pretty good market to follow. Oh, look at that. No reversal required. Nice little continuation. And the sellers kind of regaining the trend. Mark's asking what settings, excuse me. Had a little coughing fit there. What settings do you use for the mid cap? That's the EMD for DTS. The default settings, Mark. No tweaking required. Well, that may have been the end of that little move, as now the looks like we're seeing some support again. So it's starting to make me wonder whether or not we are going to see more of a sideways drift here. First clue that we might be going sideways is this first micro macro cross that had no follow through to it. That's unusual. We know from experience the first micro macro cross tends to be a really strong signal. Of course, that's not to say it is right 100% of the time. Now we are producing a warning dot for first micro macro cross lower. There's the completed signal. I think, I would be more inclined to take it below the low, maybe even offer up a couple of ticks. You do have to cover it above the high, which is a little annoying. But it does seem to be a seller's market today, does it not? well, I think one more push lower is looking pretty likely today. Maybe not a major decline, but enough to get down here to the secondary support, which was 56.03 half. Excuse me. But they're thinking about it. So you can see they broke the low by a tick. I hate those one tick trends, which is why I offered up 2 ticks before getting my entry. This has the potential, though. It has the potential to be a good little trade. If we reverse back above this 56.10, 56.11 high, then a pullback, at least to the macro line, seems likely. So you can anticipate that as well. Move from 56.10 to about 56.15. All right, well, they're not coming on board just yet, so I think we'll set that up on the shelf for now, and I think we're going to call it a day. It was a nice trading day, though, for a change. We saw a little bit of action, and we'll get together again tomorrow and do it all over again. So we'll talk to you then. Bye for now.